Welcome to Teen Up, a podcast that digs deeper into the thoughts of teenagers' minds about the wonders of the world.
If you're new here, I am your host, Isabella.
And I'm Glenn. If you're not, welcome back.
Here's a quick disclaimer. If we made any mistakes, please email us and tell us. Thank you.
Yi Yi, or A One and a Two, is a 2000 film directed by Taiwanese director Edward Yang, Yang De-chang in Chinese. This film focuses on a middle-class family living in Taipei. The story unfolds with the marriage of Adi and the sudden stroke of grandma.
To be honest, I finished the movie just before we start recording, and I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna say I don't like this film, but I don't absolutely hate it. I bet there are things that I didn't get because first of all, I fast forwarded a lot of the parts because this movie is a very slow
And long.
a slow and very long movie. And I personally don't watch a lot of Taiwanese media at all because I can't deal with the Taiwanese acting skills. But yeah, I fast forwarded a lot and I put it on 1.5 speed. I believe what I did watching this movie did not do this movie justice. So I can't say completely that I hate this movie. I don't like it though.
Well, I honestly, I love this movie so much. I think it portrays a heck of a lot of life in Taipei. And I think I can see a lot of little parts of people around me. And a lot of the themes that are portrayed in this movie are things that even today, it's 20 years ago. This film was produced in 2000. And I feel like a lot of things today still holds true. And a lot of things that people living in Taipei are struggling with are still the same. And the same conflicts. And I feel like it is a great representation and a great portrayal of the culture that we live in. Because it's a very long film and it encapsulates so much. And, with so many different angles, it combines coming of age with, the struggles of mid-age crisis, with death and with money, with loss and fear. And I feel like that's why I love this one so much. So I think we can start with the characters so it's easier to understand.
Sure.
There are a ton of characters in this film.
Yeah, I'm surprised that I am not as lost as I thought I would be with all these characters, but I think I followed along quite well.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm pretty lost for the first hour.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of people. But after the first hour, I started to seeing who's who. And that's when things got very, very good to me. Because I can follow along pretty good. And I can see the parallel between different storylines. So let's start with the core family. The core family has a son and a daughter. The son, the boy, is called Yang Yang. And the daughter is called Ting Ting. It's really simple names. And the dad is called NJ. It's just the initials of his Chinese name, Nanjun. And people call him NJ. And then there's Ming Ming, the mom. And then you have a grandma without a name. And you have Ming Ming's brother, who is Adi. So he's a younger brother of Ming Ming. And then Adi's wife is Xiao Yan. And his past lover is Yun Yun. And then you have another girl called Ah Rui. She's NJ's first love. And then you have a neighbor. So you have the neighbor's family. The neighbor's daughter is called Li Li. She's at the same age as Ting Ting. And Li Li's boyfriend is Pang Zi. Okay, this is so convoluted.
I know, so many characters, honestly, yeah.
But you know all of these people.
Yeah.
So let's just start with the story. There are going to be spoils, but I don't know. I feel like if you're listening up to this point, I would strongly suggest you to watch the movie before you listen to this episode. but like do
For
whatever
sure.
you want. So the movie starts with a marriage of Adi and Xiaoyan. And when they're like decorating the venue, Yun Yun, who is Adi's ex-girlfriend, came in and made a scene. Yun Yun talked to the grandma, being like, "Oh, it should have been me. I'm so sorry." And like just
I should have been the wife.
yeah, she was making a scene. And then the grandma like felt bad. She's like, doesn't feel well. So she wanted to go home and rest. And I feel like that's the genius of this one. So they went home and they settled her in bed. And then there's like a simple line with the camera shooting at a garbage. And then the dad is like, "Oh, Ting Ting, you need to take the trash out." But the trash is still there. And then this scene just ends. And then they cut to the wedding. So they were decorating the venue earlier. And now they're at the actual wedding. And in this wedding, they were happy. They were like joking around. And then NJ took Yang Yang to a McDonald's. And when they got back and they're taking the elevator up, they saw Rui, NJ's first love. And they haven't met for like 20 years. For a very, very long time. And they were like talking like, "Oh, how are you?" Very formal. They greeted very formally. And then just when NJ's leaving, mind you, Yang Yang is, listening and watching all this time next to him. And then Rui turned back and was like, "Why did you leave me 20 years ago? Why didn't you come find me?" And then he was like, some made up excuse, It's like a very awkward conversation. It's a confrontation. And then another one of their classmates or like acquaintance came in the scene and, kind of put a stop to it. So it's not that awkward.
Kind of rounded the conversation.
Yeah. But this scene planted a seed for the whole story. So then the wedding ends. And when they got home, there's an ambulance outside. And they're seeing like, "Oh my God, grandma passed out." And, they're taking her to the hospital. And they say she fell down next to the garbage. So Ting Ting didn't take out the trash. We knew that from like 20 minutes ago. But now we know what the trash is causing. Okay, so I feel like this film is kind of like a butterfly effect. They started with one scene. Honestly, just one thing. And then another, and then another, and everything just spiraled into different direction. So grandma went into a coma. And then, she went back home and just lie there because she's in a coma. And the mom's like, "Oh, y'all gotta talk to grandma every day, so she has a higher chance of waking up." And I feel like grandma, like the talks with grandma, is a gateway to everybody's mind.
For sure.
And it definitely is. And so let's just talk about each character. Ming Ming, the mom, talked to grandma first. She's like very eager and she talked to her and all that. But her talking led her to find out that her life is boring. Her life is monotonous and nothing really goes on. And she's doubting her existence. So she's like in this mid-age crisis thing. Because she doesn't know who she is behind the family, the money, and honestly, her husband. She's like lost. And her solution is to go into the mountain.
Go to the monks.
Yeah, become a monk. So that's kind of it for Ming Ming for now. The next one is Ting Ting. So Ting Ting knew, or like kind of knew, she didn't take out the trash. And she's like she's blaming herself for it. She's beating herself out for, letting grandma into this whole shenanigan. And, she cannot stop thinking about it. She became depressed.
Ting Ting, right?
Yeah. The dying plant, And there's a scene with a dying plant, and that dying plant basically represents her mind. You know? She's like withering.
Yeah, I see how that parallels with.
Yeah, and she's like, she's withering and she's bringing these things down, kind of thing. And the next one is Yang Yang. He just straight up refused to talk to grandma.
Mm-hmm.
And oh my, this conversation that he doesn't want to talk to grandma led to a great ending. A great ending.
Oh yeah,
You have to admit it's a great ending.
I liked what Yang Yang said for sure.
So the next one, Adi also talked to grandma because, that's her son. So throughout the whole conversation between Adi and the grandma, all he talks about is money.
Mm-hmm.
Every line, every sentence, he talks about money. Money, 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 money. That's all he cares about.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a depiction of, I feel like, one type of people in a society.
Mm-hmm.
These people, they only care about money.
Yeah.
All they think about all day, every day is money.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And they're always trying to make more money.
Mm-hmm. And kind of like at the end of the day, what breaks them is also money.
Yeah, I totally see that.
And this also happened to Adi. He had these great ups and downs. Being rich for a day and being broke for the other.
He's kind of like gambling with his life. I feel like the way he uses money and the way he says he's like investing, but I wouldn't call that investing at all.
Well, of course not. And I feel like he's the type of people who are reckless. Those type of people who, I don't know, are not thoughtful enough for their for people around him.
Yeah, for sure.
And especially his marriage, a lot of drama.
I know, crazy.
So this is kind of a parallel in a sense, I feel like, between Adi and NJ. They both are, still thinking about their ex. And, well, that's another theme on love. But basically, the story's like that. And that's just like the first, 30 minutes?
Yeah.
So every character went on, lived their lives. Yang Yang, he's getting bullied at school for various reasons.
Not just the students, but also the teacher.
Oh my god, I hate that teacher. It makes me so mad. It makes me so mad. I just want to punch him in the face.
Grab that stick and, I don't know, use that to hit him. I don't know. Can't.
And Ting Ting, she's, having feelings for Pangzi, who is the neighbor's daughter's boyfriend. The neighbor's daughter is Li Li, by the way.
Recap.
Yeah. A lot of characters. And, she envies them. She wants to feel love. She wants love, but not that type of love that her parents have. She wants something that's passionate, something that is, new and exciting.
Yeah, I rarely see any communication between her father and her mom, which is Ming and NJ. And I feel like it's so weird. Like, there was this scene with NJ seeing Ming leave to go to the mountains, and he just like look at her leave. Like, if they were in love, I think that NJ would have like got off the car and talked to her again and then just like say goodbye or something.
They're not in love.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, I don't. I feel like the relationship between those two is really weird, and I don't get why they would want to make that relationship work at all. I don't know. Personal opinion on love relationships. Yeah.
So after the break, we're gonna start with the first theme, love, and move on to other themes.
Welcome back. Now we're going to talk about the various themes within this movie.
So you just mentioned love. Let's talk about that. I feel like there are a lot of different types of love in this movie.
I'm just going to mention the love between NJ and his first love.
Mm-hmm.
I can't. So I personally think that like they had like a little getaway in Japan, right?
Yeah.
Where they were able to resolve their past conflicts.
Or did they?
I know, exactly. I don't understand why Are would express her love like constantly, repeatedly, yet in the end she was the first one to leave.
Well, that's life.
She's making everything so complicated. What for?
Do you never have like complicated feelings towards a person? It's like she loves him but hates him at the same time.
Why?
'Cause he left 20 years ago. But deep down, she knows that she loves him and he loves her with all their hearts.
Mm-hmm.
It's the first love, you know? It's the first time that you feel the rush and the passion and how you connect with another person, like on a totally different level. And I feel like that's the type of thing that you'll never forget.
I mean, yeah, for sure. I totally get it. Like, okay, I'm just gonna like talk about the end where NJ said that when like the past is in the past and if you try to repeat those days, it's just gonna like end the same. Do you know which part I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do totally like feel that, and I just don't know why they would want to repeat it. I don't know.
They never resolved it.
So is this like a better closure for the both of them?
It's not closure, I feel like. I mean, it could be a type of closure, but it's not closure on the relationship for sure. Like, no, this is the type of thing that you never have closure on. And the closure is, I feel like, acceptance that, there's always going to be that somebody and you'll always think about them and, feel sad.
Then why would they want to even go on this trip together?
I mean, you can't help it. It's like sometimes some people just like, how some people should get a divorce.
Yeah.
It's the same sentiment. They know they should get a divorce. They know this person, they know they should break up with this person. They know it's not going to work out. But every second when they see a chance, they're going to grab it and just try to hold on to it to every second they have.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end, she left because she knows this is not going to happen. And she accepts that.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way to accept it, to make this work, is to hurt both people and leave.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I guess it's like a different view on, how to treat relationships. Like, I personally wouldn't go through all that drama to get the same conclusion that I got 20 years ago.
I feel like it's not the same,
I mean, they confirmed each other's love, like, this time. And they connected somewhat more in another sense. And they, like, through this experience, they learned that it's never going to happen.
Yes. And they know what happened 20 years ago, which is another point, though. Because NJ decided to do one thing that maybe somehow is for himself.
Mm-hmm.
And he left. But he regrets it all his life for leaving.
Mm-hmm.
He regrets that forever. And, Are moved on, or maybe not really moving on. She lived another life.
Mm-hmm.
And then, after all these time, they meet each other. And they still have the sparks.
Yeah.
They want to maybe like experience it again.
Mm-hmm.
And the interesting thing is that it also parallels like Ting Ting and Pang Zi, their short-term relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a very short, not even short. It's a overview on love, the theme. And then I feel like another big one is fear. And it's, well, honestly, very true to life. to talk about fear. We all fear something. It's not like we're all Captain America. Be like, hell yeah, we gonna do this. You know? It's not true. And all the pep talk in movies, they're not true. If you're afraid of something, you're just gonna be afraid of it. And everybody in this movie has different fears. You know, Ting Ting has a fear of, well, not getting to know someone and not loving someone. She seeks love. And she's afraid of being alone.
Yeah, for sure. I think her guilt is also a big part of her towards the grandma.
Definitely. And NJ, his fear of chasing after love and doing things that he actually like. And Ming Ming, the mom, her fear of not leaving anything behind in her life, not doing anything meaningful. And Adi is afraid of not having any money. And you can see one thing that connects all of these are that they're all dealing with their own fear and what it caused them. I mean, emotionally, they're all dealing with this. It's woven into their lives because of their fear. It all happens because of fear. But what I love about this film is that, I keep saying this, but the film doesn't make it a story about fear. It doesn't make it a story that, oh, if you fear about something, overcome it, and then you'll be great. It doesn't feed you that message.
Then what about Yang Yang? Like, is there anything in particular that he's dealing with? Except for, like, the bullying and stuff?
We're going to get to him later, because I feel like there are a lot of things to talk about him. So let's talk about him later, separately.
Sure.
And another thing in Edward Yang's movie is the indifferent city life. How everybody is indifferent. How we're kind of all our own people and nobody's gonna be beside us. And I don't feel like this needs much of an explanation. Just see how people's relationship are so shallow and so weak and just so surface level in this movie.
Okay, like, yeah, I think I get what you mean here. Like, at the end, Xiao Yan, which is his wife, they married. I feel like just because he got her pregnant.
For sure.
Yeah, like, that is the shallowest thing ever. That is just the thing about, like, you know, societal views and how people think things should be done. When you get someone pregnant, you should marry that person or else you're a terrible man. And that mother would go through a lot of negative emotions, and other men wouldn't look at her the same again. Yeah, like, on that note, like, their marriage is so shallow. And there's this scene where Xiao Yan gets mad because Yun came to their kids' like baby shower or something.
It's like a full month thing, like when the kids turn 1 month old.
Yeah, like a celebration thing. And like in that scene you could see how different Xiao Yan deals with things versus how Adi deals with things. And like, I don't think he's ever seen her that mad either. Like, I bet their relationship didn't even last that long before they married. Like, that wasn't a part of her that he has seen. So, yeah.
Me too. But it's like, I feel like it's very true. Because that happens. Sometimes, you know, it's all about regrets. Which is the next. I feel like it's all about regrets in a way. And it kind of ties in with fear. Because with fear comes regret.
Yeah.
Everybody regrets something in their life. And it haunts them for the longest time.
I know, keeps them awake at night.
Yeah. So, the last theme, which is the most important one, is simplicity and innocence. To me, you can see this especially in two characters, NJ and Yang.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about NJ first, saving the best for the last.
Sure.
NJ, in the film, throughout the film, he's been pushed around.
Yeah.
In work, he doesn't want to be like this merchant with all the tricks. You know, he wants to be a real person. He wants to be honest, not just to people, but be honest with himself. You know, he wants to be a good person. I feel like he kind of represents what a lot of people wanted to do in the first place when they started. You know, in their career, in their life, whatever. I feel like that mindset represents a lot of people.
Right. In the movie, his like work friends, his coworkers, is asking him to like go to talk to this other company's boss.
Yeah, and then like this company is like a ripoff of another one.
Well, like I guess what his coworkers are trying to make him do is to like trick them into like doing contracts with them, or just to make money, like what business people do, right? But what NJ is trying to fight back here is that he doesn't want to be fake with other people like most business people are, and he is just trying to be honest with who he is, and just trying to like actually connect with people and not base relationships off of business things like benefits or stuff like that. That he wants to put that aside and actually be real and talk to people about the real situation of their company and just not be an actual businessman.
And I feel like his character, when put aside with others, he shines through as this
For
weird
sure.
person. Like, you're doing business, you know? But what he really represents is innocence. He represents the innocence in all of us. You know how when sometimes we think about politics, we think about like, oh, why couldn't people just do the thing? Why couldn't we just be real for once? You know?
Yeah.
Why are we always fighting on things that doesn't actually matter? You know, different parties, different things that are just in the mind. Why couldn't we actually do the thing? He represents that thought, but he's being pushed around, and people pushing him around represents the society and
Yeah.
the system. We blame it on the system, and these people are the system, and he represents the people who are being pushed around by the system, who are questioning the system, but he can't live without the system. He needs to serve the system for his own benefit as well. And that gets us to Yang. He is a freaking diamond in this movie.
Yeah, even though he doesn't say much.
Every time he does something, says something, appear on the screen, it just gets you thinking. It gets you thinking a lot. So first of all, I mentioned something of Yang, you know, being there in the whole conversation between NJ and Are when they like first reunite.
Right.
To me, Yang is a spectator. He
For sure.
looks at things, but he doesn't participate. He's like outsider, you know? He's watching everything. And somehow he kind of knows more than everyone.
I see what you mean, and I think a lot of movies also use kids as the ones that observes everything and actually watches everything because people think that they don't understand it.
But this one does it on a whole different level.
Yeah.
So one other thing that Yang said that is just so philosophical and crazy is that he and his dad, they saw the neighbor wearing a sunglasses when they were waiting for the elevator. The neighbor was crying the night before. She's fighting with one of her boyfriends.
One of.
Yeah, she had a
Yeah.
lot of boyfriends.
Yeah, true.
And then Yang was like checking her out, not like in a weird way, but like, but he's like trying to see what's up with her.
Like why she's crying or sad.
Yeah, he's like just like observing, you know. And then NJ told him to stop. And this is a comparison, a contrast between Yang's innocence and NJ's societal norm.
Right.
And then they, went to the basement, go into the car, and then NJ was like, "Oh, Yang, you couldn't do that. It's not polite." And then Yang was like, "Well, but she looks sad. I want to know what's happening." It's very kid stuff.
Yeah.
But then comes a hit that you don't even expect. He asked his father, "Do we all only know half of the things? And can we ever see things from a different point of view?" He's saying because we can all only see the front, not the back. And then his dad was like, "Well, that's why we use photography to show other people our viewpoints." So then in school and at home, he started taking these weird photos.
Right.
Just like seemingly random stuff. But what he's trying to represent is his viewpoint, what he's seeing, like literally. And then, this also carried on to the whole bullying at school thing. And to me, that scene at school of those people bullying him, that is also like a fight between the system and innocence.
Why?
Because his photo, they represents innocence. And these people who are so rotten from the inside, they think innocence is something that's dumb. Like just like how somebody is true and honest when they're doing business, you think they're dumb.
You know the part where his dad, like NJ, said that Yang is somewhat similar to him? Like, I could totally see that. Like, even the part that you're just talking about, the innocence part, I could see how they're similar. And I think the way that Yang deals with the bullying at school and how the teacher bullying him as well would definitely be the same way that NJ deals with it. Like, just absolute silence and doesn't fight back.
But that is the only way, in a sense, because if you fight back, it's only going to be worse.
Right.
You can only suck it up and go on with your day. So the last thing is Yang's photographs. He started taking photographs of people's back.
Yeah.
And he just said one thing to his uncle, Adi, which is so fitting. He gave Adi a picture of his back. And then Adi was like, "What the heck is this? It's my back." And then Yang was like in a very innocent, very
childish
way. And then in that way, he said, "Oh, because you can't see it, so I'm showing you this." But this line, it represents so much.
For sure.
It's saying that how Adi does not see his own shallowness. And how he only cares about money, how he does not have a real relationship.
Terrible his marriage is. Yeah.
It talks about so much with so little.
Yeah, I do like Yang's way of like just telling you the truth without knowing that he's telling you the truth, kind of. Yeah, I think it's brilliant in how the script wrote it this way and how it was incorporated together, because Yang is so innocent that him pointing this out makes it, how do you say it? Makes it really, I don't know, more obvious than other people saying it, because even he could say it without noticing it. Yeah.
Because that's innocence.
Mm-hmm.
And the last scene is the funeral of the grandma. So it comes full circle. He gave a speech to grandma.
Oh yeah, and the grandma died. Spoilers alert.
Anyways, at the funeral, Yang finally talked to grandma.
Mm-hmm.
And he explained himself. He said that he feel like he doesn't have anything to say because grandma is always telling them to listen to her. So he feels like she would know better and nothing he said would help her. And this line is like exactly what I believe in a way. Like we shouldn't be making more noise in this society. And he's saying like how everybody's saying everything but nothing. What everybody's saying is meaningless. And how everything, or like most things that people are talking about, does not have depth. So he refused to say anything. And it's just because he doesn't have anything to say. He knows he doesn't have anything to say. So he shut his mouth.
I mean, this part, like this ending speech, ending monologue thing, I think it sums up this whole movie really well as well. To, even though, you know, how like talking to grandma was a way for the audience to know what was going on in each of the characters' minds. But like him saying that like we don't have to say that much because grandma already knows, because grandma knows best. Also meaning that we don't have to say everything out loud. I mean, again, I just think that it's really cool how it's a kid who's telling life lessons to all these people and to the whole audience.
It's always the kids.
I know. They're like angels, right? They're like, do you get what I mean? Like angels, they're pure. And even though they know nothing, they know everything. Like, so smart.
So final thing, I only have one criticism for this film. One and only one, but it doesn't matter that I'm still giving this film 100 out of 100. Is that the sound is terrible. That's all I'm going to say. The recording is terrible. I don't even know how terrible it's just terrible. It's such a shame because it's a great movie. I acknowledge it's not for everyone because it's very long and it requires like a very long attention span. And well, honestly, not everybody in this TikTok generation has it.
For sure. Yes, for sure.
But it's a film that requires you to analyze and think about deeply. And I feel like if you're into that, then it's going to be a great film for you.
Go watch it. Bye. Thank you for listening to this episode.
We will upload a new episode every Thursday.
Remember to like, follow, and share our podcasts with your friends and family. You could also share your idea and thoughts with us on our Instagram at teenup.podcast.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share our channel. Thank you and bye.